Delicious Teacher, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about how I ended up making the switch from being a dedicated digital lesson plan queen to using a old school paper planner this past school year. Stick around as we talk about that story and I share the good, bad, and the ugly. So, as many of you know, this past school year I got moved from being a second grade self-contained teacher, which meant that I was teaching second grade and was teaching one class, all the subjects. So I taught math, science, reading, social studies, science, you name it, I was teaching it. We were in one classroom all day with the same kids. This past year, my principal moved me up to third grade, and my district does a co-teaching model in grades 3rd through 5th. So, meaning at most schools in my district, if you are teaching a grade level in 3rd through 5th, you are either you are in a co-teaching model, you are teaching 2 blocks of students, and you are either the reading ELA teacher the reading and social studies teacher, or the math science teacher. So my principal moved me from being self-contained to the math science 3rd grade teacher, and I was the math science part of a co-taught classroom. So that is a relevant detail. There is a reason I'm telling you that, I promise. So with that switch meant a lot of my normal ways that I was doing things, especially when it came to lesson planning, had to change. But it's like one of those things where you don't know until you get into it. And that, there were a lot of procedure things that I had to change. And I might do another video later on about some of the things that I did during the school year with my co-teacher that really made teaching 2 blocks of students so much easier, because I feel most people that come from self-contained classrooms where you're used to just doing everything for your class. It can be very challenging to share students, share data, and that whole thing. And I think my co-teacher and I did a really good job of balancing autonomy with what was best for the team, like us. That's probably going to be another video. If you want that video, comment down below and let me know. Before I get into my story, though, if you are new here, please be sure to like and subscribe. I would love to have you hanging around as I share more about my teacher journey, here on my YouTube channel. So, all right, let's hop into how I made the switch from digital lesson planning, literally on my computer, writing lesson plans, to a paper planner. And it was specifically that shift happened this year. So I have been a teacher since 2007. And in 2007, I used digital planning. It was just a Word document that we used. Fast forward to 2026. And I, along the way, made some switches. I used planbook.com, which I still highly recommend. I loved Planbook. So I went from Microsoft Word to Planbook. Then I switched from Planbook to PowerPoint and had a template in there. And then I switched that to Google Sheets in 2021. I think I started using that. And I used that for the better part of since 2021, especially with the pandemic, being online, a lot of Google friendly things started really exploding, and that was just a very easy way to share my lesson plans with my admin was through Google Sheets, and it was so nice. I loved the duplication. It was so intuitive, and I really enjoyed that. And you can actually grab a free template of the exact template that I used for years in one of my YouTube channel videos. I'm going to try to put it here. But if not, you can check the link or the description box and I'll put it down there. So back to the story though. Always digital. Since the beginning, always digital. And it wasn't until this school year when I realized that digital wasn't really working best for me. So when you're self-contained, you really kind of set the pacing for your class. And so what would happen, and why I was using digital lesson plans, is we would plan as a team, and we would have team plans, and then I would take those team plans, basically copy and paste for the 5 subjects that I was teaching into my own lesson plan template to match where I was for my pacing, because chances were my science and social studies I was way behind on. ELA I was usually right on target with, and then math usually like 1 lesson or 2 lessons behind. But because of that, I needed my own lesson plan template for all of those subjects. And I found it was just easier for me to copy and paste where I was from the team plans. Fast forward to this school year, though, I now went from teaching all of the subjects to only teaching science and math. And instead of being in charge of like the pacing for only, 20 of my students all day, I really had to be mindful of my pacing, and I really had to be mindful of my 2 blocks of students and making sure that I was serving them and where they were at, but also keeping myself sane. And so what I found with typing my lesson plans is I was just doing a lot of like copying and pasting for block 1, block 2. It was just like, I just felt very much like it was the redundancy that I didn't need. I also found that I was very close to the normal pacing that my team was at. Very rarely. I mean, I did come back a little bit on math and science, of course, but I was very similar to what my team was doing, and I just felt like it was just too much. I didn't need as much detail in my plans because I wasn't doing 5 subjects a day, plus, math centers and reading centers, where I needed to have a ton of detail. And so I thought, you know what? In August, I was still typing lesson plans separate. And then by September, I gave up the ghost on that. And I'll show you a peek at my teacher planner in a minute. And you'll see that transition. But through there, I realized that it would just be easier if I used a paper planner and just wrote down kind of my structure of my day. And that way, and if I needed links or anything, I could just pull up the team plans from where we were at. And it was already customized in my planner. Well, this is my new one, but this is my last year's planner. In my planner, for what I was going to be doing, but anything else I could just pull up it from the team plans. And I also didn't feel like I was copying, like basically redoing work. So that's how I ended up making the switch. And I ended up finding this planner at Target, and this is the Happy Teacher Planner at Target, and I will give you a very in-depth detail here. We will go through it, but just some things that I really liked about this planner as compared to other planners, because I have used other planners. I mostly just use them for the double page month to month that I could literally just like look and see like when conference meetings were or when field trips, or just kind of like a month spread of like events that were happening. And this had that, but I liked a couple other things that you could do with this one, especially like this binding system, which was so nice. It made it so I bought the paper like ring creator so you can like punch your paper and tuck it in. It was so worth that purchase. I got it on sale too on the website. So let's get in and kind of take a peek at these planners. I'm going to go through like page by page of my actual planner from last year. So be ready for that. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the new planner. So this is last year's planner that was at Target for the Happy Teacher Planner. And then this is the new 2026-2027 Happy Teacher Planner that I purchased. But I purchased this one from their website. This was not at Target. I had not seen that Target at the time of this video, or when I was ready to order my planner, had come out with their Happy Teacher version. I don't know if they're not going to have it this year or if what they're doing per se, but I will put links in this description here where you can shop the actual planner that I purchased, plus I'll put some of the ones that I've used in the past from Target as well. So, but this is the new one for the 2026. There are definitely some updates that they made Well, and this one I got from the website versus, so they might have made like a different version for Target. But I'll go through and show the specific details for you. And for it being my very first time ever using a paper planner to actually plan, I was quite impressed with the functionality of this planner. My only complaint is the size. It is very big, which kind of made it difficult to lug around with me, but I think so many of the other things outweighed it that I ended up buying a new one. But let's talk about this one and how I used it. So you can see there's still some stuff popped in there from last year that I wanted to keep. This particular planner came with some divider sheets, a little folder. It came with some stickers already, and then I created some stickers to be able to label the pages. Here you can see are some more of the stickers. Actually, I think this might have been a sticker pack that I purchased separate, because these are the stickers that I came with. I didn't really use too many of those. Yeah, because you can see these are the stickers, because like I don't need flowers. The front part had like notes and stuff, and I didn't really put too much in here, but I did use this spread for long-term planning. So this year I was teaching 3rd grade math science, so I used this kind of like continuous calendar to show my pacing for the different units, starting on when this is like how our district paced it out. So I wrote like what we were doing, the topic, and then arrows. And then for science, I kind of went in against it and did that. So you can see like the different topics and then the arrows for how long we should be in that topic. And this just kind of helped me see like, when should I actually be done? I crossed out any school breaks, things like that. And then all the way through. And then according to my district, we should have been in flex math all the last like month of school, which we ended up actually finishing math much earlier in April. And we used some of that time for reteach. You can see like we took our math, I think the 12th, our end of the year math assessment. So the district only wanted us to have like a week of review. We ended up doing like 3 weeks of review, which I'm going to have to talk about that a little bit more. But basically, like, I felt like that was an excessive amount of review. But I think 2 weeks might be the sweet spot. So I loved this. And I think I am going to do a planner again this year. I want something where I can do the long-term planning out. It was so nice to be able to look and see like, okay, when, according to my district, should I be done with units? Especially since I am notorious for taking too long on doing things. Each month had a double page month look, and then it had the lesson plan pages. And normally for a teacher planner, I only used this double spread just to kind of keep like appointments, meetings, things like that at the front of my brain. But this year I actually used it as a planner, and I was so impressed with myself. So you'll see like we started in August. I wrote down some of the important things we did in August, and then like it really like clicks up. So I didn't actually write anything in here because at that time I was still using my lesson plan template for Google Sheets. And it wasn't until September that I was like, ooh, maybe we should switch, because it was just getting a little too much to try to keep track of. And I felt like I was just doing a lot of like copying. It was just too much. But I loved these little planning pages. Here you can see like some of the things like my teaching partner and I kind of planned out what we wanted to do. Like supplies we might need. We did like an apple day, which I shared about. You can see more about that. This was like meetings that we had. I did buy some extra note sheets that I was able to easily tuck in, which was so nice. And then, yeah, you can see I really start like getting in and like writing more and getting like, and this is when I actually started using the planner. So I made some stickers to run across. Because I only teach math and science, I didn't necessarily need like individual slots. We have like an intervention time we call buzz time, so you'll see that that's there. And then I did 2 blocks for math. block 1, block 2, but normally I would just write the full thing. But if any reason we were not on the same lesson, or if I needed to do something different, I would use like this was block 1 and this was block 2. Same for science, block 1, block 2. But I always tried to keep the classes the same for my own sanity purposes. Anything I wanted to plan for centers, and then any important things like notes. And then over here I usually wrote like if we had a planning, if I should do like if we had meetings during planning. And you can see like I really did try to like write in here, and it was so useful too. And like here we did our apple day. Like I really enjoyed like being able to write out quickly what we would be doing. Once again, I loved the additional note pages that I had purchased so that I could just quickly tuck them in. And then towards the back, yeah, you can see more lesson plan pages that were used. My little to-dos stuck all in there. Towards the back. Oh, this is where this is. I was looking for this. Towards the back are checklists, and I purchased more checklist sheets that you could easily tuck in there. But this allowed me to, I know people like do grade books and keep grades written and then duplicate it into their digital grade book. I was not doing that, but this allowed me to like keep track of any important paperwork or anything like that. So you can see that like, you know, different designations of students to kind of help me keep track. This was for our dojo points, different things, and I would like go in there and use that. And then back behind was more note stuff. And I just tucked a ton of pages back here that I could just quickly kind of grab and use for notes. And whenever we had meetings, and I would just tuck it all back in there. And it made life so much easier because I had it all right in front of me. So I really enjoyed using this planner so much this year that I ended up buying I didn't see Target had this style yet on their website. So I went ahead and purchased the 2026-2027 Happy Planner from their website because I loved this cover. And so I do want to show you a little bit more about this one. This one compared to this one, there is some differences. I have some thoughts. First off, size. Look how thick this one is in comparison to this one. This one is much thinner. So this one I think was $34.99 on the Happy website, which I thought was pretty reasonable for like a planner. I feel like that's right in line. I don't think I would pay more than $40 for a planner. I know like people love more expensive ones, but that's just not my style. This one had all the key things that I really liked. I think what I'm going to do though is it does not have a folder, and I really liked having the folder to keep like my stickers in. I'm going to take the folder out from my old planner and just stick it right in here, because with this, it's mix and match so that I could like make my own sheets and put them in too. I really liked that. So once again, it still has like the continuous calendar. So I am totally going to go through and pace out again my math and my science. This time though, I think I'm going to be a little more strategic and do math in one color and science in another so I can quickly visually see. Still those like nice reflection sheets. These are perfect for like thinking about the month ahead and like supplies you might need. That flat lay for the month, and then the same lesson plan section where you've got your days running vertically and then your subjects running horizontally. I really do like this setup a lot for writing out. And then let's look at the back. So in the back is where we have those checklists, the same checklist sheets. I'm probably going to tuck some note sheets back here as well, just so I have those ready to go. But I loved like the look of this planner, the color, like look how cute. Just the theme of this just made me happy. And that's what we want. My favorite is just barely holding on, because like in January, every teacher knows we're barely holding on in January. So cute. So I can't wait to fill this baby up. Okay, so that was a close-up look of my 2 planners. So my 2, I mean last year's planner and then the new one that I'm planning on using this year. I cannot wait to get this baby set up for the new school year. I did buy some new like planner stickers to put in here that are more school specific because this one did not come with any stickers at all. You could buy like a separate pack on the website, and I'll link that in the description, but I did not buy that. Instead, and I'll link the ones that I did buy, I bought ones that are like 100th day of school, parent conferences, open house, that are just very like real teacher needs. And they're just like little stickers that I was planning on putting on like my double spread pages or in my lesson plan pages. And so I'll link those too, because they just make it so easy to instead of having to write everything. So that is how I ended up going from literally 17 years of digital lesson planning to ending up going back to a paper planner. And I never thought I would see the day. I figured we would just all be doing digital, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to use it again this upcoming school year, and I think it just helped me stay on top of things so much better. I do think, I will say, that if they ever move me back to a grade level where I am self-contained again, I will probably move back to digital planning, just because it's so much easier for so many subjects to copy and paste. Like I said before, I teach 2 blocks, and one of the things that I did to kind of help my sanity was make sure that both blocks were very close or doing the exact same lesson in math or in science. Like science, we got off a little bit, especially my afternoon block, because of how our afternoon was structured. But in general, I taught the same lesson for both blocks every day, and it made life so much easier. Anyway, all right, thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully I have given you a glimpse into the life of, using a paper planner. And if you have questions about any of the planners that I used, make sure to comment below. Let me know. I am always answering questions. Or if you have a suggestion for a planner you want me to check out, let me know. All right, bye guys.